Discover the incredible truth. 12 amazing things I exposed about my son that changed everything. Sarah poured her heart and soul into every meal she made for Tyler. The tiny kitchen was filled with the scent of simmering beans and cornbread, comfort food, the flavor of home. At 35, as a single mother in the economically struggling Cedar Grove, she worked 2 jobs. Each hour spent waiting tables or cleaning houses only deepened her devotion to her 14-year-old son, Tyler. Their bond was as bright as the autumn leaves outside, a stark contrast to the whispers that labeled them as less than. Tyler's basketball dreams, those spun out on the local court, felt palpable, but as the new season started, things turned sour. He faced rejection. It hurt in a way he couldn't fully explain. The other boys laughed and trained hard, their eyes set on what lay ahead. Scouts were already taking notice of talents far grander than his. As he slumped on the driveway later that night, Sarah sensed something was off. Tyler, once so vibrant, had started to fade away. Every evening they shared meals at the kitchen table, and every moment was precious as she teased apart the worries that clouded his head. It was during these quiet moments that Sarah began to rhyme off the 12 remarkable qualities about her son that swept her heart with pride. First, it was his empathy, how he used to help their neighbor's child with disabilities. "You help him shoot hoops, right?" she'd ask, smiling at the memory of Tyler patiently guiding the boy's small hands. "Yeah, Mom," he'd mumble, his head down but that soft glow in his eyes hardly flickering. Then there was his dedication. Tyler practiced tirelessly, even when no one came to shoot with him. She knew he poured his heart into the game, each swoosh of the net reverberating with hope. And his unwavering support for friends at school who felt out of place, he stood beside them like a shield every day, laughter on his lips. It filled Sarah with warmth to see him stick up for others. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and just as Sarah began sharing her discoveries with the community, a scandal unraveled Cedar Grove. A sports figure spoke a cruel word into a mic, triggering a storm that rumbled through social media, pitting neighbor against neighbor, and before she knew it, Tyler was swept into the eye of the hurricane. The whispers returned, heavy as lead on Sarah's heart. She saw friends become distant, neighbors shared judgmental glances, and Tyler's spirit shrinking further. With the weight of the town's prejudices on her shoulders, Sarah knew she needed to fight back. As they faced an impending town hall meeting, the atmosphere crackled with tension. Would they find support to clear Tyler's name or remain crushed by a collective bias? The clock ticked loudly in her ears, pouring adrenaline into her veins. The tension hung heavy as she stood there, vulnerable and resolute. As she looked into the crowd, she spotted Tyler's face, despair pooling in his eyes. Then a voice echoed from the back, cutting through all that noise. The air thickened. Would it be an ally or another dagger aimed at her son? Whatever was about to unfold could tip the scales of fate. The voice rang out again, this time more insistent. "That's not true. Tyler is not what you think." A young girl from Tyler's basketball team stood, her cheeks flushed and determination etched across her features. Sarah's heart leaped. Maybe this was the breakthrough they so desperately needed. "Ella, please sit down," barked Mr. Jenkins, the town's self-appointed leader, a strict man with little patience for dissent. His brow furrowed, and Sarah could see the unease ripple through the gathered crowd. What would they think of a middle school girl standing against them? Ella pressed on. "You don't know him like I do. He's talented, and he would never do the things people say." The young girl's voice wavered yet pierced the air with sincerity. The murmurs in the room shifted slightly, pregnant with hesitation. Some faces softened, others became defensive, yet the air grew electrified with possibility. Sarah felt a swell of gratitude toward Ella, a knot in her throat as memories of Tyler's laughter echoed in her mind. Ella's courage reminded her what this fight was truly for. "Tyler is a good kid," Sarah called out, finding her own voice amidst the chaos. He helps everyone, even when it's hard for him, and what you're saying, what you think you know, it's wrong. Each word propelled her forward, bolstered by an urgent need to safeguard her son from their misplaced judgments. Mr. Jenkins shifted uncomfortably, his gaze darting around the room. He had built his standing on respect, yet here was a young girl and a mother, a duo rising against the tide of collective assumptions. "Let us keep this civil," he cautioned, but the crowd's energy had shifted. They were listening now. Around her, Sarah saw the faces of other parents, craving the truth. One or two nodded in agreement, while others looked ashamed of their previous judgments. Hope pushed through Sarah's chest, as if sprouting from the cracks in the pavement. Farther back in the room, two boys whispered amongst themselves, their expressions a mix of disbelief and amazement. "Tyler's not like that," one said, almost involuntarily. A sudden change of heart, perhaps? Sarah felt the surge of warmth. Could kindness still bloom in this tightly knit community? Ella continued to champion for Tyler, her voice growing steadier. "He practices every day. He even lets me shoot with him because I can't reach the basket. He's the best teammate we could ask for." At this, a ripple of murmurs spread through the audience. The tension began to dissolve, replaced by curiosity. Seeds of doubt were planted. What if the rumors were false? But then, just as quickly, an older man at the front of the crowd stood. His expression hardened, eyes narrowed as he prepared to speak. "What about those rumors, then? Are you saying they're all lies?" The question hung in the air, a sharp contrast to the moment's lighter mood. "Everyone makes mistakes," Sarah interjected, sensing the urgency. Thoughts raced through her mind. Was Tyler's reputation worth the risk of exposing the truth? What if the old wounds of scandal were pried open again? But she looked at Tyler, and despite the fear creeping in, she felt fierce. As the town hall consumed her with whispered judgments, her heart beat fast, determined that this moment would define not just her son but also their very community. Would the crowd believe them? Or would they dig their heels into prejudice once more? Just then, lights flickered overhead, dimming momentarily. The shift was palpable, like the calm before a storm. "Mom, I need to say something," Tyler finally spoke up, breaking the silence. The air shifted again. Everybody turned to him, anticipation buzzing like electricity. This was his chance. But would he rise to meet it? Tyler stood at the front, his face a mix of fear and determination. He glanced nervously between Sarah and Ella, as if drawing strength from their unwavering support. Deep breaths filled his lungs, but he could feel the weight of the room pressing down on him like a heavy backpack. It was now or never. I know things have been rough," he started, his voice barely above a whisper. "But I want you to hear it from me." Finding that tiny ember of courage inside, he took a step forward, drawing the crowd's focus even tighter. His words came tumbling out, raw and genuine. "I'm not perfect, but I'm not the monster everyone says I am. I made a mistake. It was a stupid joke that went too far. I wanted to fit in, and I guess I thought maybe it was funny at the time." He winced slightly, some audience members shifting uncomfortably with him as they considered his honesty. "But I never wanted to hurt anyone. Not ever." His voice cracked. The murmurs around him grew quieter, swirling into a stillness that hung in the air like summer warmth. "What you hear, it's not the whole story. Yes, I messed up. But that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That doesn't mean I don't care." Tyler's features twisted with emotion, hands clenching into fists at his sides. "I'm trying to be better. I want a second chance." Sarah's heart raced. This was a pivotal moment, the kind she hoped Tyler could reclaim before her eyes. Some faces softened, while others looked conflicted, fighting against the ingrained judgments they held. Ella chimed in again, her voice steady like rock. "We've all made mistakes, right? You can't tell me you've never said something stupid. Tyler just wants to be a good friend, a better person." It was a plea, a call for understanding. But the older man at the front eyed Tyler, skepticism still lingering. "Is that really enough? Can we trust a kid who makes jokes that upset others? What is going to happen again?" His tone had an edge like steel, and the unspoken challenge drew the crowd's eyes harder on Tyler. Because if it's just a joke, Tyler repeated, his heart racing faster, then maybe this town could laugh together instead of tearing each other apart. We could grow. I mean, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Be better? A heavy silence filled the room, clashing with the nervous energy that swirled. Slowly, some heads began to nod, but that older man grimaced. His voice was low but cutting. You think you're the only one with problems? We all have to live with the consequences of our actions. How can you make us believe you deserve this? Tyler felt the sting of doubt seep into his heart. But just as despair flashed in his eyes, Sarah stepped forward. You want to talk about consequences? How many of us have done the same? Made that one terrible choice when we were too young to know better? Her words hung in the air. Imagine if we all faced judgment for our mistakes like this. Tyler is asking for a chance to grow. Don't we owe that to him? Don't we owe it to ourselves? The murmurs moved through the crowd again, this time like waves challenging a rocky shore, each voice building on the last. Some were hesitant, but others began to voice their support. Maybe he deserves another chance, someone whispered. We can't be perfect all the time, another echoed. Hope bloomed like a flower breaking through the snow. This could be the tipping point, but the older man still stood firm. And what if he fails again? But what if he doesn't? Tyler asked softly, voicing his own desperate plea. What if this is the moment everything changes? The crowd held its breath, tension threading the air tightly as eyes flicked between Tyler and the older man. What would he decide? In that charged moment, it was clear that one single sentence could turn the tide. Would the community rally around Tyler, or would doubt and fear continue to push them apart? The answer loomed just out of reach, like the final breath before an important moment. As the room waited with anticipation, the air thick with uncertainty, Tyler could only hope that the next few words spoken could transform everything. Would they break through the walls they had built? The air hung heavy, palpable with hope and trepidation. Tyler's heart beat a relentless tattoo against his ribs, each pulse echoing his desperate wish for redemption. He could feel every eye in the room, like searing lights, dissecting him, taking him apart. Could their forgiveness be buried beneath the weight of their anger? The older man finally sighed, his shoulders dropping just a fraction. You want a chance, Tyler? His gaze softened slightly but held on to that edge of scrutiny. I'll tell you, trust isn't given freely. You'll need to earn it. You'll need to show us you can do better. A wave of murmurs swelled through the crowd, rippling like a sudden breeze. Some nodded, acknowledging what the man said, while others shifted uneasily, caught between judgment and encouragement. Tyler felt an unexpected surge of resolve. I will, he declared vigorously, feeling the weight lift a tiny bit. I'll do everything I can. I just need you all to believe that I can change. I want to build back the trust I've lost, to become someone you can count on. The sincerity in his voice reached out, wrapping around those who were listening. Sarah felt her heart swell at his words. She stepped closer, desperate to support him. And we can help him. Her enthusiasm was infectious. We can hold him accountable. Just as a community should. This is about more than just one mistake. It's about healing together. Ella's eyes sparkled as she added, imagine if we help one another grow instead of tearing each other down. Think of the example we could set. We can't let fear dictate our choices. Their words pulled at the heartstrings of the crowd. Faces began to soften, hope flickering like candlelight in the dim room. But doubt still lingered like a stubborn shadow, especially in the older man's steadfast gaze. Talk is cheap, kids, he said, a hint of grudging respect creeping in. You're just words without actions behind you. What will you do to actually change? Tyler's mind raced. He thought of ways he could demonstrate his growth, how he could turn this moment into something tangible and real. I can volunteer for community events, help younger kids, anything. He blurted out, adrenaline coursing through him. Maybe I could start a club where we talk about mistakes and learn from each other. Share our stories and find common ground. A girl in the back, who'd been listening intently, chimed in, "I'd join that." Others nodded, a trickle of support sharpening into a collective wave. But amidst the growing support, the older man's voice cut through again. "You want to lead? Maybe it's more than just wanting it. Are you ready for the responsibility?" "More than anything," Tyler replied earnestly, feeling the fear of failure rise in his throat. "I don't want to hide anymore. I'm tired of being that kid. I want to be a better version of myself." And just like that, the spark of something new ignited in the crowd. What had been a spiral of skepticism was slowly morphing into a fragile notion of hope. It was a feeling they hadn't shared in a long time, but just when Tyler thought he might have won them, the older man pierced his earnestness with a final challenge. "You can't just talk about change, Tyler. You have to be the change. If you stumble, if you backtrack even once, how will we forgive you then?" The words loomed over Tyler, a heavy reminder of the stakes at play. But he squared his shoulders and met the older man's intense gaze. "Then I'll own it. I'll stand before all of you again and take the heat if I mess up. No excuses." The room hung in the silence that followed. There was a shift. Cautious hearts began to open. The tension still crackled, but the air had changed. It wasn't just a meeting anymore. It was becoming something bigger, a possibility for transformation. As Tyler steeled himself against the impending judgment, did he feel the first flickers of belief sparking from their gaze? Suddenly, he was aware that the future hung delicately in the balance. Would the community finally embrace the talk of hope and transformation, or would fear pull them back into shadows of division? With the weight of their expectations heavy on his shoulders, the question loomed large: could he truly guide them all to a brighter tomorrow? The moment hung like a fragile thread, and Tyler felt it sway under the weight of his words and the crowd's silence. An electric current danced over the room as everyone held their breath. It was a peculiar mix of anxiety and anticipation. Then, the older man finally broke the stillness. "All right, Tyler," he said, each word measured yet supportive. "You've got the spirit. Now, let us see if you can put that energy to work. Show us what's possible." Tyler clutched his notebook, the one where he started jotting down ideas for his club, and nodded emphatically. How could he express that he was ready for this moment? His heart raced as this opportunity flickered like a beacon. This was bigger than just himself. It was about healing, learning, and rebuilding. "Let us meet next Saturday," Tyler suggested, feeling the newfound power of planning surge through him. "We can gather here and brainstorm ideas for activities. We could have workshops, peer mentoring, whatever it takes. Just think, we could create a space where everything can be discussed openly." The eyes in the room shifted. Hope tugged at the corners of hesitant expressions, as if the thought of coming together ignited a tiny spark within them. But Tyler quickly realized the road wouldn't be easy. Some still wore skepticism like a cloak. A voice from the back murmured, "But what if it doesn't work? What if it falls apart?" Tyler turned to face the source of doubt. It was Ben, a kid he had grown up with, and despite their long-standing friendship, the disappointment in his eyes felt like a weight. "What if it does?" Tyler replied, his voice steady. "But what if it does? We're all afraid of failure. That's why this is important. If we can talk about it even when it's tough." He trailed off, the hope in those words rising in his throat. He thought of every conversation with Sarah and Ella, how they shared their vulnerabilities and fears. If they could do it, surely the rest of the community could join. "Maybe," Ben's voice wavered, "but what about those who don't want to be part of it? What if they don't care?" A wave of silence followed Ben's honest question. It was a worry, one that opened a wider chasm of concern among the crowd. Tyler wiped the sweat off his palms, grounding himself. "We can't control how everyone feels," he said, keeping the quake of uncertainty at bay. "But what we can do is create the space for the people who do care. Everyone deserves a shot at expressing their stories to be heard." As he spoke, Tyler watched his words sink in. A few faces frowned in contemplation. Others nodded. The beginnings of belief were forming like autumn leaves gently falling from a tree, slowly, but surely. Then, as if to counter the budding resolve, the older man raised a hand. Listen, I admire the fire, kid, but be prepared. Reality won't always match your hopes. You must be ready for resistance. Not everyone will want to participate, not everyone will be receptive. Tyler felt the air thicken again. This was it, the challenge at hand. He swallowed hard, but a more profound determination filled him. Then we engage with them. We don't just run away in fear or frustration. We learn why they don't want to be involved. Maybe they have their struggles. Maybe it's time to let them know we're here, ready to listen. His words seemed to resonate, a tremor of realization undulating through the crowd. In that moment, Tyler recognized the spark of connection inside him, building that fragile network of relationships they were all yearning for. But as the meeting began to draw to a close, Tyler felt the weight of responsibility loom larger, pressing down like a heavy brick. He couldn't help but wonder, could he really carry that weight both for himself and everyone else? When the older man cautiously added, "Let us see how you fare next Saturday," Tyler knew this journey had only just begun. Would he crumble under the pressure of expectations? Or could he rise to the challenge, proving that, together, they could build something lasting? The air crackled with possibility as hope lingered, leaving Tyler and the rest wondering, what would next Saturday unveil? The week leading to Saturday felt like a marathon. Each day stretched out, as if time itself was testing Tyler's resolve. He moved around the house, heart pounding, thinking of ideas, organizing thoughts, and envisioning the people who would gather. It was more than just a meeting, it was a moment to change the narrative. He sat at the kitchen table, notebook opened beside a half-eaten apple, but words eluded him. His mind spiraled with plans and fears colliding. Could he truly pull this off? Would people show up? What if they all felt the deeper truth that this was just another idea destined to fail? With each creak of the floorboards, Tyler felt every doubt creeping closer. He glanced outside, where the sun bathed the street in a warm glow, tempting him to believe there might be hope. Just then, Sarah and Ella bounded through the door, grinning with their bright energy smiles. They were all he needed to remind him why he was pushing through this stressful moment. "Hey, we've been talking," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling. "About Saturday. We're in, Tyler. We want to help." Tyler's heart swelled. "Really? You guys think it could work?" Ella nodded. "Totally. We can lead a workshop on creative expression. Maybe some art therapy stuff?" "Yeah, and I could talk about the struggles we face," added Sarah. "Not just us, but everyone. It's relatable, and people need to feel they're not alone." For the first time all week, Tyler felt a flicker of confidence. Their enthusiasm rubbed off on him, and together they brainstormed ideas that night, their laughter and chatter filling the kitchen like light. The world outside faded away, and he realized they were part of a shared dream, their passion igniting a new possibility. As Saturday approached, the trio printed flyers and shared them on social media. Tyler could almost feel people tuning in, some eager, others skeptical. Still, it didn't matter. What mattered was stepping into the unknown, one foot in front of the other. Finally, the day arrived. The sun rose, bringing warmth that signaled a fresh start. Tyler stood in front of the room, breath hitching as he acknowledged the familiar faces blending in with newcomers. Some wore uncertain expressions, their arms crossed tightly. "Thank you all for coming," he began, voice shaking slightly. "I know this might feel awkward, but it's a safe space. Here, we can address our fears, our goals, and connect in ways we've never tried before." The room stirred. Their eyes locked in, quietly searching each other for reassurance. Eventually, a hand raised from the back. Tyler recognized it as Ben S. The same friend who had questioned him days before now stood there, a hint of vulnerability surfacing. "Can we really talk about everything? I mean, all the tough stuff?" Tyler's heart raced, and a wave of emotion crashed over him. "Yes. That's what this is all about. We're here to listen." As murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, Tyler felt a shift in energy. This was at the beginning of a conversation that could unravel years of silence and stigma. "Let us start by sharing one challenge each of us had." "I'll go first." When the words slipped out, he felt the transformation within themselves, emotional bonds forming around shared stories. Laughter and tears began to weave through the meeting, creating an atmosphere of trust he had only imagined, but as the group dove deeper into discussions, Tyler's excitement soon met the cold rush of reality. One voice, harsh and skeptical, sliced through the honesty. What's the point? Who even cares about sharing anyway? Tyler's chest tightened, and the room pulsed with apprehensive silence. He took a breath, navigating the unfolding tension. Could they keep this connection alive in the face of doubt? The thought nagged at him, leaving his heart churning. Would he be able to justify their brave step forward, or would the voices of cynicism snuff out the fragile light they had just sparked? The path ahead felt daunting, but with every eye that held his, he could sense they were all in it together, yearning for more. As the conversation swirled in uncertain directions, Tyler wondered, would this be the moment they truly transformed, or was it only the beginning of a much deeper challenge? Tyler stood frozen, the room buzzing like a live wire after that skeptical voice had spoken. His heart felt heavy, yet the look on the faces around him reminded him why he had taken this leap. He took another breath, the air filling his lungs, and sought a way to bridge the gap emerging. Why don't we hear from the people who are brave enough to share? He suggested, his voice carrying that hint of determination again. We're all here because we want to connect. The pain, the doubts, it's all part of our story. Let us dive into it together. A few nods emerged, encouraging him forward. He glanced around and caught Sarah's gaze. She smiled, and it brought a flicker of strength back to him. Then, one by one, voices began to break through the tension. Stories spilled forth raw and real. Someone shared a struggle with addiction. Another spoke about anxiety that clouded their everyday decisions. Each tale wove into the tapestry of shared experience. Wow, I can relate to that, he heard a voice whisper from the corner. It was a young woman sitting hunched over, her eyes brightening as she absorbed their stories. Soon, she opened up about her own journey, unfolding layers of pain and hope. Tyler watched as she sat a little taller, confidence blooming with each word. Sarah jumped in next, recounting her own hurdles and the moments she doubted herself, drawing laughter from the crowd and warmth between the connections being formed. Ella added her creativity to the mix, suggesting drawing as a way to express feelings they couldn't articulate, but then came another interruption. The skeptic's voice cut through the rising tide of emotion again. Okay, but how does this even matter? Sharing isn't going to fix anything. The challenge hung harshly in the air. Before Tyler could respond, he saw the young woman who had initially inspired him step forward. With a steady voice, she replied, maybe it's not about fixing everything. Maybe it's about feeling seen. It's about knowing we're not alone in this. The courage in her words flowed through the room, igniting sparks that illuminated their vulnerabilities. Tyler felt the power shift, the crowd responding to her strength. Silence transformed into murmurs of agreement, as more people began stepping out of their shells. You know what? She's right. I don't need fixing, a man admitted, his tone full of relief. With each revelation, walls crumbled, and Tyler realized they were crafting something powerful. This was no longer just a share your issues meeting, it was a collective healing space. As laughter bounced around and tears broke free, he saw the doubt fading, replaced with an emotional tapestry that connected them all. Each voice was a thread, vibrant and necessary. Just when Tyler thought the moment had transformed everything, the door creaked again, followed by the arrival of a woman he recognized. It was Lisa, a crucial figure in their community known for her hard stance in discussions about mental health. She had walked in mid-conversation, and the air shifted instantly. Tyler's heart raced. Would she support their vulnerable gathering, or would her presence dampen the spark they had just ignited? Before he could think further, Lisa's eyes landed on Tyler, and he felt the gravity of the moment pull at him. Was this an opportunity to draw support and further affirmation, or would it jeopardize everything they were building? Is anyone ready for some real talk? She asked, arms crossed but an intrigued look on her face. The atmosphere thickened with uncertainty. What is going to happen next? Tyler wondered, feeling the weight of the moment. Would Lisa's thoughts build them up or tear them down? Lisa stepped into the room, her presence commanding attention like a spotlight illuminating a stage. Tyler could feel the palpable shift, the collective breath of the group held tight in anticipation. Was this the moment everything changed, or would they find themselves walking on thin ice? Real talk, she repeated, her voice steady. I'm not here to shoot down your feelings. Her gaze wandered around the circle, taking in the room full of hopeful faces. I've been where you are. I've doubted. I've struggled. There was something in her tones softening, a hint of vulnerability. Tyler felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was what they needed. The credibility of someone who had grappled with similar demons. Let me tell you, Lisa continued, when I was sinking under the weight of my expectations and everyone else's, I thought sharing was pointless. I thought it could never help me. She paused, glancing toward the young woman who had first spoken out. But I was wrong. Tyler could see people lean in, connect with her vulnerability, drinking in each word as if it were life's elixir. Sometimes, sharing isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about finding a shared language, a common thread even in our messiness. A ripple of understanding spread through the group. Tyler wanted to yell out, to urge her to keep going. Would Lisa dive deeper? Would she share the moment that changed everything for her? With a renewed energy, Lisa pressed on. I remember a night that left me shattered. I left a support group meeting, feeling like nothing would ever change. But then I overheard someone in the hallway. Her voice softened. They said, when we're vulnerable, we give others permission to be human too. The room buzzed with acknowledgement. People nodded and whispered amongst themselves, the weight of her words seeping in. Tyler's heart swelled. This was transformative, a powerful reflection of their group's intentions. It was no longer just about limited beliefs or skepticism. They were becoming community, sharing moments of raw honesty that dared to strip away everything but their humanity. By sharing our stories, Lisa emphasized, we don't fix each other. We simply hold space for one another. She turned and faced Tyler. And that's what you're doing here tonight, holding space for each other. A rush of emotion flooded over him. He couldn't believe it. This was what he hoped for, what he desired for the room when he had taken that first step. A safe haven blooming in vulnerability. That a man in the front spoke up, voice trembling slightly. So, are we allowed to feel broken? To just not be okay? Absolutely, Lisa said, her demeanor completely open. You are allowed to feel your feelings. Being human means embracing our ups and our downs. And here, we recognize that every story told is a victory, no matter how small. Tears glistened in the young woman's eyes, and Tyler saw how every heart in that room was echoing that same sentiment. Hope mingled with fear, and dare he say it, a sense of belonging. But then, just as a sense of unity started to flourish, the door swung open again, jolting everyone back to reality. Tyler's breath hitched. Who was this? Did they need to brace themselves for another confrontation, or would they find support? The figure silhouetted against the hall light was unexpected. Tyler felt a stir of energy. Who was stepping into their safe space now? He braced himself, knowing they were on the edge of something bigger. Would this newcomer challenge everything they had built tonight or become another voice of connection? The moment thrummed with potential. What is going to happen next? Tyler pondered, heart racing. Would they take one more step into healing, or would darkness creep back in? The figure at the door stepped fully into the room, and Tyler's heart sank. It was Anna, a familiar face from the community but one he never expected to see tonight. Her eyes were red and puffy, her hair in disarray as if she had rushed straight from a painful moment. What was she doing here? Sorry, she said, her voice breaking the heavy silence. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to come. Lisa's expression shifted from surprise to warmth, instantly recognizing the turmoil spilling over in Anna's soul. You're not interrupting. You belong here. Please, join us. As Anna stepped further inside, Tyler felt the collective breath of the group hitch again. They were all curious, wondering what had brought her here, and whether it was a good thing or something that would unravel the sense of safety they had just begun to build. Can we help you? A soft voice piped up from the group. It belonged to a middle-aged man with kind eyes, the gentle reminder of the purpose they had just embraced. Anna took a moment, swallowing hard as if the words were stuck in her throat. I don't know if I'm ready, she hesitated, taking a deep breath. But I've just been through something. My son, he's really struggling. I don't know what to do. Tyler felt a pang in his chest. He could see Anna's vulnerability laid bare, her facade crumbling. The shared pain of being a parent weighed heavily on all of them, but especially those who carried the burden of watching their children suffer alone. The room shifted again, energy charged with a new urgency. Lisa stepped closer to Anna, her compassion radiating like light. You don't have to do this alone. This is a place for all of us to lean on each other. Anna shook her head slightly, tears spilling over. I thought I could fix it, you know. Be the strong one. But now I feel so lost. Everyone in the room shared a locked gaze with Anna as if absorbed in her struggle, each heart resonating with the overwhelming sense of helplessness. Tyler could see how deeply this affected them. He felt that same weight of responsibility a parent's hope to shield their child from hurt. Sometimes, losing yourself is part of finding a way through, Lisa whispered, trying to reach that fragile space in Anna's heart. Can you tell us more? What is he going through? As Anna spoke, the room fell silent. With each word, she painted a picture of anguish, a son afraid of failure, swirling in a sea of doubt. Tyler felt that painful familiar tug of empathy as she expressed her fears, her son's dreams slipping away. He thinks he has to do everything alone, Anna murmured, clutching her hands tightly. I wish he could see he's not a failure for needing help. For being broken. Tyler shivered at the weight of her words. We all feel broken sometimes, but we're not alone in that. The room appeared to resonate with Anna's anguish. Tyler didn't know if it was the nature of the gathering or something deeper, but he felt the connection grow stronger, anchoring them all to this raw moment of honesty. Suddenly, the energy shifted again, drawing Tyler out of his thoughts. Lisa leaned in, eyes focused on Anna. What if we could find a way to show your son that needing help doesn't mean he's weak? That we can hold space for his struggles? Tyler felt his pulse quicken. Lisa was right, they had the power to help. But would this group be enough? As Anna nodded slowly, the rest of the circle leaned forward, each one offering a sense of shared strength, unspoken commitment to be part of Anna's journey forward. But just as the atmosphere began to light with new hope, a commotion stirred outside the door. The sound of raised voices, tension clawing at the air. Just when things start to heal, Tyler thought, his heart racing. What was about to break into their fragile moment of solace? Would they be ready once again to defend their right to share and connect? The door swung open, slamming against the wall, and Tyler braced himself, expecting the worst. What awaited them this time? Was it a storm or something else entirely? The door opened, and a familiar face stepped inside. It was Coach Gray, Tyler's basketball coach. His brow was furrowed, eyes scanning the room full of people. What is going on here? He shot out, voice low but urgent. The room suddenly held its breath, as all eyes turned towards him. Would this personal conversation shatter under the weight of authority? Tyler felt a knot form in his stomach. This was supposed to be a safe space, not a battleground. But before he could find his words, Lisa took a step forward. We're holding a community dialogue, Coach. We're here to support each other. Everyone has a story worth telling. With those words, a light flickered in Tyler's heart. Lisa's bravery set the tone, grounding the gathering and directing attention back to Anna. Then let us hear her story, Coach Gray replied, softer now, his demeanor shifting. We need to prioritize the kids, especially when they're hurting. The tension within Tyler began to ease, and he noticed a few heads nodding in agreement. Even among the adults, the chatter settled into a lull of curiosity. Anna looked up, needing this moment. My son feels lost, she began, her voice shaking. He thinks he has to face everything alone, deal with his struggles without help. I'm afraid he'll give up on everything he loves. Tyler's heart ached for her, for that fear that resided in every parent's soul. But it doesn't have to be that way, Coach Gray encouraged, walking closer. He knelt down, gentleness softening his features. Listen, I want him to know that reaching out is a sign of strength, not weakness. None of us can do it alone. So many of us have fought similar battles. There was something in his tone, a unity building. Tyler felt his own voice rising to join in. We're working here to show support, Coach. If we share our struggles, we might break down those walls together. The energy shifted as silence gave way to murmurs of understanding. From across the room, Ella chimed in, why don't we start a mentorship program? Pair up older students with younger ones to foster connection. We can give them safe spaces to talk. Tyler's heart swelled as he watched her determination light up the room, pushing the collective mood toward hope. Anna met her gaze, visibly touched. If my son could feel supported like that, it would mean the world to me. Together, we could work on understanding kids who are struggling, another voice ventured, springboarding off the growing enthusiasm. What about organizing workshops? Yes. Safe spaces where they can express themselves. The idea rolled through the crowd like a wave. Yes. Tyler said, enthusiasm bubbling over as he grabbed his notebook. We could create a calendar of events, discussions, activities, anything to keep everyone connected throughout the year. Into the rising current, Coach Gray spoke again. These conversations could change lives, myself included. There's always more to learn, and there's so much power in sharing. And just like that, the atmosphere transformed into something invigorating. The worries began to dissolve under the weight of the mission they were building together, the narrative shifting from silence to connection. Tyler felt a part of something movement-like, growing stronger as hope flourished. As they continued brainstorming ideas, Anna's face transformed, tears of relief spilling down her cheeks, a smile breaking through. I've wanted nothing but to find a way to help my son. Thank you for being so brave, she whispered. This is just the beginning, Tyler replied, filled with warmth. Together, we'll make sure no one feels alone anymore. As the meeting drew to a close, Tyler couldn't shake the feeling of solidarity. They stood hand in hand, united in purpose, rekindling the spirit of Cedar Grove. Dreams blossomed, and possibilities opened wide. Through laughter and pain, through vulnerability and strength, they pulled each other up. And Tyler, more than just a kid with dreams, was now a catalyst for change, a voice for healing. In that quiet room, amidst a web of woven stories, transformation began anew. He glanced around. At the faces, each one illuminated by connection and understanding, and felt his heart swell with resolve. This was just the start, Sarah beamed with pride, and even Coach Gray wore a smile tinged with admiration. Tyler could see it now, hope had planted its roots deep within Cedar Grove, and together, they would nourish it to fullness. The world outside might continue tumultuous, but the shelter of their shared aspirations created a sense of belonging that was as enduring as family. Let us continue this next week, Tyler urged, energy buzzing in the air. Let us keep this momentum going. And as they began to exit, Tyler felt a wave of comfort wash over him, a sense of purpose far beyond basketball jerseys or making the varsity team. Here, in this newfound space, they all understood what it truly meant to rise together. Soon, he would shed doubt for good, because in unity, they had transformed, and with that, he stepped into the sunlight, the glow of possibilities leading him onward. Now you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It really helps. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Let's keep this conversation alive. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You know they'll appreciate it. This is the moment to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of lifting each other up.